Sports, along with the evolution of social media, has allowed people to connect with content creators and artists more than ever before. In New York, there's an artist/content creator who is making unique art with inspiration being both the New York Knicks and hip-hop. I've admired this guy's work for quite some time, and he joins me in studio today. It's the creator of Bocker Backpages, the illest Knicks newspaper in town, Steven Dilakian. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, Dexter. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's really an honor. Excited to talk to you about Bocker Backpages today.
Well, look, I'm happy to have you here, Steven. It's so great to have you here because I've been a fan of your work for so long, and people got to see. Look how he came dressed. He came ready to go, sporting the gear, the Knicks throwback gear. I love it. Like, everybody's got to see it. Look at that
I'm
shirt.
wearing my JB t-shirt, you know.
It.
This is the one I made. It's about Jalen Brunson, so, you know, I'm rocking that. I got the Knicks baseball throwback jersey. I got the Knicks 90s starter joint. You know, I got the signed Walt Clyde Frazier.
Official.
Shout out to Mr. Throwback, by the way. Somebody I'm collabing with for, you know, styling me for this.
Nah, I love it. Shout out to Mr. Throwback. Great job with the styling there. And, Steven, I got to start with this for you because there might be people who are not familiar with your art and your work on social media. Can you describe your work and let people know what is Bocker Backpages? There might be some people out there who have no idea what it is. What is Bocker Backpages, and describe your art for us?
So, I mean, Bocker Backpages, like you said, it's the illest Knicks newspaper in town. I focus specifically on the Knicks, but it's really about doing it in a humorous and almost like, it's kind of slapstick on a level too. You know, I'm trying to make you laugh, but I'm also trying to give you the Knicks news in a timely manner. And I'm a graphic designer, really. So it's about making it artistic and having that art punch up in everything I do. And I treat it like a real publication on a level, you know what I mean? Even though I'm just giving you sort of the covers, it's really just about making sure it's the latest Knicks news. I watch the game, I stay up late if they win, I'm working on it. I'm putting it out the next morning as early as I can, and I mean, the response has been incredible, and that's all the motivation I need to keep it going. I've expanded to doing a few other series outside of just the newspapers. I do one called Digging in the Knicks Crates, and you know, that's really just about highlighting some of the most iconic, you know, New York rap albums, and I'm big into the hip hop scene. So I'm doing a lot of cool things, but you know, in general, it's really about having a home for Knicks art and just somewhere where people can come to laugh and see something artistic and kind of unique and fly and different.
No, I love it, and I've loved the artwork. I've been following your work for quite some time, and obviously I love all the inspiration with hip-hop. We'll get into that in a second, but I want to talk to you about this because you're born and raised New Yorker, Steven, Upper West Side, representing from there. So I want to ask, where did your love for art begin? And also, knowing that you are a big Knicks fan, where did your love for the Knicks begin? Did they both happen at the same time? Where did it all start?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much out the womb, to be honest with you, because my father is an artist, his brother is an artist, so they're actually the Dilakian brothers. That's what they go by. And they're huge Knicks fans. And, you know, you probably see a picture in this of me with him, you know, wearing our Knicks gear. And it goes way back. You know, I remember being a little kid and seeing the disappointment in their faces when we would get eliminated before I even understood what was going on. You know, they hated Michael Jordan, they hated Reggie Miller. So I grew up around that. I saw the great moments, the ups and downs, screaming, regular season wins, playoff wins. So I'm just a Knicks fan, and the thing about Bocker Backpages is, like, you know, the newspaper idea, look, the reason it's called Backpages is because it's based on a sports back page. And shout out to New York Post, huge inspiration to my work, obviously. I grew up going to high school. I used to take the subway, right? I would go to the store, get the bacon, egg, and cheese, get the New York Post, and look right at the sports back page, read all the articles. And at that time, there was no social media, right? So it was really about, like, that was my Knicks content. And like that, I was so looking forward to that every day. And it's like, how do I recreate that nostalgia for Knicks fans? Of course, New York Post is still doing a phenomenal job, right? But I wanted to make something a little more, I don't have to play by the traditional rules of media, et cetera. So I'm just trying to make outrageous, sort of funny things that Knicks fans can relate to, and there's always a touch of nostalgia. That's what it's about.
Yeah, one of the things I definitely connect with, we pretty much had a similar upbringing in terms of going to high school, right? I was always grabbing the paper, the New York Post, reading sports pages. I was traveling to school, right? So seeing that iconic style within your art is really refreshing to see. Now, speaking of iconic, one of the things, I mentioned this before, that I love about your artwork, right, because I'm a big hip-hop head here, too, you incorporate a lot of the iconic hip-hop album covers, particularly New York hip-hop album covers. So I got to ask you, what made you decide to do that, add that in? And also, what's the favorite hip-hop album cover that you have that you incorporated your art into? What's your favorite there?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll just say maybe my favorite first is either the God's Brun one, which you'll probably see on the table or on the TV, but and maybe the JB one that I'm rocking today. You know, I love those ones. I love Jay-Z. I love Nas, obviously. The inspiration for it was really, I grew up on hip hop. I remember listening to like the Rough Riders album in like 3rd grade, and you know, I've been big about hip hop for a long time. And I also, you know, I got some bars myself, but you know, that's for a different, maybe for a different lifetime or something. But you know, it's something I've always looked up to, and you know, the art for albums is just super influential for me and iconic, and you know, like the Jalen B and Randall Paid in Full design that I did, you know, I just love that cover, period. And to add some flair, to be able to make some funny joke tracks that are based on like what's happening in real time with the Knicks, you know what I mean? So like, the other day I did, you know, the 3 young boys just went crazy, right? Like Quentin Grimes and
Saw that.
Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin. So I did like a QG unit thing highlighting Quentin Grimes and the boys, obviously. And, you know, like I made some tracks like Stunt 138 instead of Stunt 101 because we just dropped 138. So it's like little things like that I try to throw in as like Easter eggs to the fans. And like they look forward to that. They love those details. And yeah, man, my love for hip-hop is really just where that came from.
Yeah, I love that. Anytime you can have hip-hop and basketball come together, that's a love for me right there. So I love what you're doing with that. Now, for people watching this, they might say, okay, we can just see Steven's art, Bocker Backpages on social media, but it's more than that right now, okay? You have some shirts, you got merch that are being sold at Mr. Throwback. Shout out to him, his store in the East Village.
Right.
What was the inspiration to take your designs from social media to selling merchandise, right? Because that's a whole different game, a different lane there. So what was the inspiration to do that?
It is a whole different lane and ball game, and honestly, this is something I've been doing maybe a little bit over a month at this point, the merch piece. I started out sort of through some grassroots connections and things like that I made, and then as more attention came to my stuff, I'm able to now partner with Mr. Throwback. But the real inspiration for it was that a lot of my followers were requesting it, you know what I mean? And some of them were, you know, very influential people in the space, like Kazim Famuide from MSG Networks, Ashley Nicole Moss, you know, you're familiar with them, obviously. A few other people, and they just would always comment, these need to be t-shirts, like we need these as shirts. Like I can, you know, I pinned those to my profile, go check it out, because I knew I wanted to, but I needed that push from people like that. You know, the Kid Mero, he's been a huge advocate of my work. He's one of the most engaged followers I have, and like that's big for me. And he also said, you gotta launch a collection. People request books, like with all the art at the end of the year. They want like a coffee table book or something. So I want to do all that for all these people and figure out how to make it, you know, something where there's a ton of different options for people and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's good. It shows a lot of people that you can start in one place with an idea and it can expand into so much more. And talking about the expansion, right?
Right.
You've now had some Knicks players. Not just people like me and other people in media. You've had some Knicks players who've noticed your artwork. What's that been like for you, knowing that players on the team are actually seeing your work and saying, hey, I might want a t-shirt. I might want this on something else. What's that experience been like for you?
That's been a dream come true, if I'm being honest, because, you know, at the end of the day, I do this because I'm passionate as a Knicks fan, right? And I've spent a lot of time, like I said, in the PR industry, and you know, so that gave me sort of both sides and an understanding of how to promote it and market myself. But it's just a surreal feeling to know that I switched over to being something more creative, and these players are responding and their families. So I actually, something that's kind of funny, I have 3 Knicks players' moms who follow me, and you know, I love that they follow me, and some of them, like, I've had, you know, minor dialogue with and things like that, but I also sort of know every time I'm going to make content that those moms are lurking, right? And, like, they're gonna see it, and, like, I don't wanna disappoint them. They're kind of like, you know, my Knicks content creation moms, if you will, and, like, I don't know, I just love that, and there's going to be members of the Rose family, the Leon Rose family, and members of the Julius Randle family that are going to be wearing my designs. And, just knowing that they'll be wearing something I created is just like an unbelievable feeling. So.
Well, look, we'd love to see a lot of people around MSG because the playoffs are coming up. They start a week from today, Saturday, the 15th of April. We hope to see people around MSG wearing some of your designs. We definitely want to see that. We want to see that. We're going to put that out there. It's going to happen. Let's talk about this season for the Knicks, okay? Let's talk some Knicks basketball, right? Because they will be the 5th seed in the playoffs. They're going to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everybody knows that. In your eyes, has this season been a success? No matter what happens in the postseason, do you look at this Knicks season, 2022-2023 season, as a success?
Absolutely. I think this is one of the best seasons of my lifetime, other than also like the 3 to the Dome era, if you will, the mellow years, like around 2012, 2013 time frame. But, I mean, we haven't had a point guard like this since the turn of the century, you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of excitement. We have a great core. We have a ton of young players we drafted late in the first round. So our front office is showing how competent it is. The players are performing and growing at like a great rate. I mean, there's so much to be excited for. And we still have enough assets to, pull off some type of huge trade potentially. And I don't even know if we 100% need that, to be honest with you. We have a great core, and something great is being built here.
Good space for the Knicks fans to be in right now. So when you look at this season, right, and you look at Jalen Brunson emerging as a leader, Julius Randle having a bounce-back season, you look at the development of Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes. If you got to pick one player, okay, who's been the most impressive Knick in your eyes this season?
So, I mean, everyone you just named has been impressive, right? And even Mitchell Robinson, I'll add to that mix because, he used to have trouble staying on the court, staying healthy. I feel like he's addressed that a lot. I'll say if I had to pick who's the most impressive, it would probably be Jalen Brunson, just because it was a mystery box. We didn't really know what we were fully getting. We saw some potential, obviously. He did a great job with Dallas in the playoffs, but there was a huge percentage of this fan base that was opposed to that move and thought it was not the right way to spend our money and tie up our money. And now it's looking like this huge bargain. So I feel like, it has to be Jalen Brunson, but I'm super impressed with Julius getting back to like that MVP level kind of play, or sort of in that conversation. And Emmanuel Quickley is literally becoming a star, like game by game. Quentin Grimes, you can tell he has a huge ceiling. So I'm really excited about all that.
All right, really excited about this. Okay, I'm going to put you're in the hot seat now, okay? We're going to put Steven in the hot seat here because this is about playoff predictions. And I think one of the big questions, Steven, going into the playoffs here is Julius Randle going to be 100% healthy in time for the series against Cleveland? If he is not healthy, do you think the Knicks can knock off the Cavs? That's one. And the second part I have for you in this hot seat is, what is your prediction for the series? Right now, I know we're a week out. What's your prediction for the series?
So I'm going to say my prediction for the series is that we go 7 games. It's a dogfight, right? I'm not obviously sure when Julius will be available, but knowing how durable he is in general, he's really an Iron Man for us. I think there's a strong chance he'll be available, or at least really early in the series. And, fingers crossed, because we really need him out there, man. They've been playing pretty well, picking up the slack without him. And it's not only without him. When we didn't have Jalen, I thought they were playing great. When we didn't have Mitch, I thought they were playing great. I mean, we have a legitimate team, and we're deeper than the Cavs, But the Cavs also have that chip on their shoulder because we beat them 3 out of 4 times this year. And I know it's going to be a dogfight either way, but I'm confident that the Knicks pull it out, man. And, I'm obviously a little biased, but we got this, man. We got this. Yeah.
Just a little. Okay, Knicks in 7. Got your prediction on record.
That's my prediction.
Knicks in 7. Feeling confident. That's what we like. Okay.
Yeah.
Last but not least, got to talk to you about this. We talked about your creations over the past few years, and people should know Steven's only been doing this 2 years with Bocker Backpages, just in 2 years, right? So I have to ask you this, with all the growth you've had, obviously I've been a huge fan of your work. What's next for yourself in Bocker Backpages? Have you allowed yourself to think a little bit about the future, and what's next for yourself and what you're doing with Bocker Backpages?
Yeah, I mean, I always think about the future, and I'm really focused on this, and I'm all in on this at this point, you know what I mean? Graphic design, that's what I was put on this earth to do, you know what I mean? Make art, create. and I'm finally getting back to that the way I should be. So, but as far as the future of the brand, I see myself expanding to talk about more than just the Knicks. You know, the Knicks will always be my first love, but at the end of the day, I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a Giants fan. You know, my family members are Rangers fans, and you know, I'm kind of more of an honorary Rangers fan. Like, I'll pop in for the playoffs. But at the end of the day, I understand all the fan bases in this city. I love that people are so passionate, and I could see myself expanding this to all teams, and you know, maybe even establishing a digital newsletter where there's actual articles that accompany the covers I'm making, right? And people will come. I'll be able to tease the new drop, like on my page with the cover, and then there's actual supporting content that people could maybe, you know, subscribe and take a look at. So I have a lot of different things I'd love to start, and I wanna look into sort of building out a little bit more of a team, because right now it's just me doing all this, and you know, it's a lot to juggle, because I like I said, I really treat it like a publication, and I'm really trying to make sure I put something out every single time the Knicks win, and that it goes hard. And I hope the fans feel that way. I'm sure they do. The response has been awesome.
Well, look, man, I think you are absolutely connecting with a bunch of fans out there who are seeing your work, seeing your art. It is a lot of work that you're doing out there. And listen, I appreciate it. I like seeing it when I'm scrolling through on the gram or on Twitter, and I see the work you do. And I'm always looking forward to what is the next shirt design? What's the next hip-hop album cover Steven is going to come out with? I appreciate your work. I also appreciate you being here, my man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. That is Steven Dilakian, the founder, creator of Bocker Backpages. If you don't know about it, go check it out. It is the illest Knicks newspaper in town. You should check it out. You see the gear right there. Steven, thank you for coming through. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll have to do this again.
I would love to, man. It would be an honor.
All right, appreciate it again. Check out that work. Till next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace.